Hello, everyone, and welcome to another evening of stamping. I am Sarah Simon. I'm coming to you from Appleton, Wisconsin, and I'm so excited to stamp with you tonight. I love it when somebody suggests something for me to do, and I don't have that stamp set, and I order it, and it comes in, and I start to play with it, and I absolutely love it. I was so giddy last night when I was making the second card for tonight. So, thank you guys all for joining me. I just kind of had to randomly say that because I really was. So, um, I someone had suggested last week a stamp set that they wanted me to make. I said, if you have any suggestions, let me know. And someone commented, and my mom said to me, did you get any suggestions? Because I said, I have one card I have to make yet last night. And I said, well, one person made a suggestion and I didn't have that stamp set. So I ended up ordering it, but it's not coming until Tuesday and I need it tonight. Well, you see, I had placed two orders because of our buy one, get one 50. I had put two orders on. One order was coming on Monday and one order was coming today. And I thought that the stamp set was in the order that's coming tomorrow, but or today, I mean, but it actually was in the one that came yesterday. So it was a nice surprise when I opened up the box. I was like, oh, the stamp set's here. I know what I'm going to use for my live. And so I had seen a demonstration by another demonstrator with a fun fold. I kind of had an idea of what I was going to do. And I was so thrilled with how it turned out. So I can't even wait to share it with you. So, but before that, let me share some of the happy mail that I received. So I received this birthday card from Patty Skiba. I saw her this weekend at Kathy Miller's daughter's wedding. Oh my gosh, beautiful wedding. But I have to say, I'm sure when she planned a wedding outside in Wisconsin in the middle of June, she probably did not expect that she would have 90-degree temperatures with a humidity of 70%. And oh gosh, it was so hot and it was so humid, but it was also so absolutely beautiful. So it was so nice to be able to be there. But I saw Patty and she's like, I missed your birthday again. And she gave me this along with a really nice gift. And then I also received this. I believe this is a paper pumpkin. It might be a kit. No, I'm pretty sure it's a paper pumpkin. And this is coming from Marva Dahoney, I believe it's pronounced. And she had won one of my cards in a drawing, and she said, it's even prettier in person. So thank you so much for that, Marva. I appreciate it. And your card is absolutely beautiful as well. All right. Yeah, Karen, it was a little drippy. Let's just say that I had planned to wear this black dress that had sleeves that were about 3/4 length sleeves, and then they had like some gems and stuff on the sleeves. It's my wedding dress. I just wear it to every wedding. It fits, it looks good, whatever. So that was my plan. And I'm in the shower and I get out. And by the time I dried off after getting in the shower, I'm like, I'm sweating already. I need another shower. So I'm like, we need to rethink this. We're not going to wear this. So I went digging through my closet and digging through my closet. And then I'm like, wonder if people are going to wear pants to this because it's outdoors or if I have to wear a dress. And so I had a pair of very dressy. They were kind of like not gaucho pants, but they were like capris, but they were the wider legs and they were a little bit fancier. I'm like, oh, I could wear this, and I have a black sleeveless top that's very dressy. I'm just going to wear that and dress it up with some jewelry. So that's what I ended up wearing. Well, there were people there. There were a lot of men in shorts, and there were many women that were in capris with short sleeves. So I fit right in, but it was steamy hot, very steamy hot. So anyhow, I have prizes to give away. And I think this is the first time ever that both people whose number I drew are people that I have never won with me before. So both of these people are going to have to send me their addresses because I do not have them. So last week we did this layout in our cloud cover. This was part of my Color Club cards that I Still don't have sent out because after I had them all packaged, I'm like, I forgot to order the Stampin' Write markers. So those came tonight in the box that I had. That's why I had to have 2 orders. Those came tonight in that box. And so tomorrow I will be finally delivering those. But receiving this card for commenting. So anytime you comment, I'm seeing comments on Facebook. There are comments from, I don't think I have anything from Facebook actually tonight so far. I think I just so far have YouTube. But you can comment on either one. I look at all of those places. I give everybody a number. I do a random pick of a number, and whoever's name has that number or whatever name is by that number wins the prize. So receiving these is, and I don't know how to pronounce this, I think it's Tonia, and then it's Spille or Spill, Spille from Florence, Kentucky. So Tanya or Tonya, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. If you are watching or you watch this on a replay, please send me an email to createwithsarah with an H at the end, LLC at gmail.com. Or you can send me a private message on Facebook. That would work too. Oh, and I got some comments on Facebook. Woohoo. All right. And then the second card that we made was this one. And this is that little surprise that folds out like this. Oh, I'm loving this paper. That is going to be coming live on July 1st for the rest of you. So we were able to order it earlier for demonstrators, and now you will get a chance to order it on July 1st. Receiving this is Margaret Duncan. And Margaret, for some reason, I thought you won before. But when I looked in my software that has all my addresses, my pirate ship, I couldn't find your name. So if you did win, let me know. I mean, I don't have your address. I can't find it. But if you could just send that to me again, createwithsarah.llc at gmail.com. Hey, Lisa's on Facebook. Woohoo. And so is Barb and Joan, it looks like, as well. So thanks for joining me there. And then for placing an order. So anytime you place an order, you also get put into a drawing, and winning a pack of these muted palette dots. There's like, I think that is Balmy Blue, and it must be Mossy Meadow and Petal Pink and Daffodil Delight, because those are the colors that are in the suite that this comes with. Receiving this is Denise Umloft, and I saw Denise on here and she said something. So I will make sure that you get that. I will get that to you. All right. I'm losing my train of thought, and I don't know why. Just a quick reminder that we do have our buy one, get one 50 going on until next week, Monday. So it will be over when I'm with you next Tuesday. So I wanted to make sure that I reminded you that this is going on. Now, I do have to say that there are a lot of things that I think because of this sale that are currently in back order. A lot of the dies are not available. So that means a lot of the suites are not available as complete suites. But what you can do is anything that is in a suite, so it could be the stamp set and the paper. So if you get the stamp set and you get the paper, the one that's going to be the cheapest is the paper, and you would get that for 50% off. Now, if you throw a pack of gems in that same order, and the gems, let's say, are only like $7 or $8, then you're going to get the 50% off the gems, which are going to be the cheaper. So you're not going to get as good of a deal. So you always want to make sure within your order that you're placing. Now, you kind of have to, I was kind of messing around because it's like, but then I don't want to pay more shipping to have 2 different orders. So I kind of played with it as best I could. And that's why I had 2 orders, because I tried to figure out my orders so that I still had enough in each order that I wasn't paying too much for shipping. But that is going on, and that is a really good deal. Unfortunately, quite a few of the entire suites are not available because, like, I know the dies for the one with that pot, what is it called? Katsuya? I don't remember what it's called. But that one, the dies are not available. A couple of other ones, the dies were on back order right now, or they're not going to be available for, I think it's at least a month. So, all right, let's go ahead. I think that's all I have for announcements. I think I'm going to switch down to my desktop. We'll see. I got my new camera and my new holder. We'll see how that goes today. I am still going to turn my overhead light off only because I tend to get a lot of shadows. I think I have canned lights and they're really, really bright, and I love it when I'm stamping myself. But when I'm doing a presentation, it leaves a lot of shadows on my desk. So I'm going to go ahead and switch to that. I'm going to turn my overhead light off. And hopefully I think it's still bright enough. Yay! I have a light over the top. I might do a little bit brighter light, but it's looking pretty good. I'm going to get my mouse out of the way though, because we don't really need that. All right, our first card is a layout. And I found this layout from Jackie Bolhuis, so I want to give her some credit. Jackie does, if you go to her, I think she has a blog. If you just do a Google search of Jackie Bolhuis or Stampin' Klompen Stampers, Klompen. She's from Holland, Michigan. And so she has, her little thing has wooden shoes for being Holland, Michigan. And so anyway, she has a booklet that you can purchase that has all these different layouts in them. And she did one the other day, and I've been making them so that I have them to go back and look at. She like kind of puts it together, and I make a sample as well, and I write down the dimensions so that I can do it. What we're going to be using, remember when we made this? I made this a couple of weeks ago with this paper from the Boho Vibes, I think it's called. We are going to use that suite of products for this card. So here are my dimensions. Hopefully that's nice and clear for you tonight. I think it looks a lot better than it has the last couple of weeks. I know when I tried to use my document camera, it's set up to automatically focus, and it kept wanting to, every time I'd move my hands, it would want to refocus again. So I'm using just a webcam, and I found a holder for it so that it's just hooked to my desk. And I think this is going to work pretty good for me. So our card base is going to be thick, basic white. And this is just your standard, get something on it. This is 5.5 by 8.5, and I scored it at 4 1/4 already. And then I'm going to use DSP. You could also use a different color. You could stamp on cardstock to make your own background paper, but you're going to have 2 pieces that measure 4 by 1 3/4, and those are going to be your top and your bottom for your background layer onto your card base. And then you're going to take a middle strip that measures 4, and then instead of 1 3/4, it's just a little bit smaller than that at 1 5/8. Otherwise, we wouldn't have any little space between those. Okay, so this is 1 5/8, which is 1/8 of an inch smaller than, it's like right between, in the middle, between 1 1/2 and 1 3/4 is where that is. All right, you want to have, so her card layout then had a focal point that went in the middle. And that focal point was 2 1/4 by 3 1/2. And then she put it on a mat that was 1/8 of an inch bigger at 2 3/8 and 3 3/8. Rather than just doing a rectangular focal point, because I'm going to be making a rainbow, I thought I'm going to try our everyday arches, and I'm going to be using my rainbow and putting it up here. Okay, so the last card that I made, we used the dies that cut this out, and we just put some of the designer paper behind it. Thanks, Sue. Yeah, I'd love your thumbs up. That would be awesome. Okay, so we just put designer paper behind it. There are also dies in here that have all different, so that's the one that I used last time. It just cut all of those out so that I could see my pattern paper underneath. We also have all of these fun dies that we can use to create different textures, different patterns for a rainbow as well. And so tonight I'm going to be using these. So I have already cut some of those out already. This is going to be for my envelope. This is just, I think it's 3/8 of an inch piece that we're going to use on the inside. Oh, it says 4 by 5 1/4. If you didn't have white, I have white. You would need that. This is just, it's actually 6 inches, but you only need it to be 5 1/2 by about 3/8 of an inch or 1/2 an inch. It's up to you. All right, so I cut in Daffodil Delight. This is my biggest one, so I'm only going to use 3 of the little bows. And then this is Petal Pink. And I did use our adhesive sheet so that I can just pull that sticker off the back. And then I used Secret Sea. I love Secret Sea. And then I used, they have a little die that cuts out either a heart or stars. Actually, on our last one, we did a heart. I had done a star before, and then when we did our live, I did a heart instead. But this is just some of our cloud cover. We've got 2 different size stars, so I'm not sure which one I'll use. I don't remember which one I used when I made my sample. I'll have to take a look at it and see. All right, so we also have to do a little bit of stamping. So I'm going to start with my stamping, and I'm going to be using this. I'm going to bring in one of our piercing mats, and I just threw some typing paper on top of it just to kind of, so I don't get ink all over it. I'm going to use some of the Secret Sea and Daffodil Delight. Okay, so this is going to be the outside of my card, and along the bottom, I'm going to put the rainbow. I'm going to kind of match it up with the arch of the Everyday Arches, but underneath, I'm going to put Sending Good Vibes. I thought that was such a fun saying, something different, right? Because we're always doing flowers and everything else. It looks like I didn't do that very centered, but that's okay, because you know what? I'm going to wrap some twine around here, and there's going to be a bow over here, so it's going to be okay that it's not quite centered. I didn't mean to not center it. It just kind of happened. I was talking. I'm looking over a camera. All right. Then on the inside of my card, let's bring our inside over here. Let me, I don't know where my bone folder is. I don't see it here. I do have to clean off this desk. It's probably buried underneath a whole bunch of stuff. So just go ahead and give that a good crease. But down in this bottom corner, I'm going to use this thing that you could use as a half sun. It's like half of a circle. And I'm just going to line that up kind of in the corner. Okay, I just want some of it showing. And then I'm going to take the little rays. I'm going to line those up and just add a little bit of sunshine to the corner of our card. Isn't that just fun? I just think it's fun. All right, and then we have our little half of a piece that, oops, I didn't go all the way down to the end because I know I have to cut a little bit off because I left this at 6 inches. There we go. And snips. So that's going to be the inside. Gives me lots of room to write a little message. Hi, Becky. We're just making the first card, so you're not too late at all. All right, so then on here, we are going to, I've started with the yellow, so I could kind of match it up with the arch of my Everyday Arches. And I'm just going to take a little bit of liquid glue here. I didn't put adhesive sheets on this piece. I did the other two because of how small they were. There we go. Okay, so I figured that was just perfect for that. That's why I kind of went with the everyday arches instead of doing just a rectangle, which was what Jackie's was, a rectangle. I gave you the dimensions for a rectangle. That's about how wide and how tall this everyday arch is too. Okay, so there is our petal pink. And then I also have an adhesive sheet on the back of that Secret C. I'm going to set that in there. And then let's take a dimensional. Take a little mini dimensional here. I'm all out of them, so I'm going to have to cut. Looks like I'm going to have to cut twice. There's so much on the sides of those minis that you can just use those right up. I'm going to set that right inside there. Now, there's quite a bit of space in between there. And so what I decided to do with that is take some of our linen thread. And yeah, that zigzag is really cute. It kind of reminds me a little bit of, what do you call that? Is it rickrack? Super cute. All right, so I'm going to take some of our linen thread. Looks like I have a new one here. I know I have one started because I'm using linen thread on both of my cards today, just a little bit differently. I'm going to wrap this around here twice. Now I could have used some of the cloud cover ribbon, but when I tried that and I put it around there, or the Secret C ribbon, it was just a little bit too thick. It needed something just a little bit softer. So that's why I decided to go with the linen thread. I love our linen thread. I always have like about 5 or 6 spools of it on hand because I use it all the time. And what I like about it is that when you want to tie a bow with it, you can tie a knot before you tie that bow because it is so thin. Like if you do ribbon, there's no way I would tie the knot and then tie the bow. You have to kind of like tie the bow after you make that first tie. But with linen thread, it's so thin that you can tie it in a knot, get it in place where you want it, and then tie that bow. And it does make really nice bows. Okay, I'm just gonna pull on this a little bit. And then what I usually like to do is just take a glue dot and roll it up in a little ball and stick it underneath it to kind of hold the knot exactly where I want it. So I'm just kind of rolling this up in my fingers, and then I'm going to just stick it right underneath here where I want it to be and press that in place. And then we'll trim these a little bit. I do want them a little bit longer. I like how that looks. And then we will add this to the mat that is just one bigger than this. And then we'll throw some dimensionals on the back of it. Oh, I didn't make the rest of my card yet, did I? Just realized that. We'll be all set to put the whole thing together. I'll have the dimensionals on and everything. All right, let's set these aside. Bring our card in. Make sure I have it going the correct way. And again, I'm just going to, and I'm going to use liquid glue on this because I do have a little bit of wiggle room then. I'm going to set the bottom and the top piece first. I'm going to get these 3 sides to have about the same amount of space on all 3 sides. And then I'm going to do the top one. Oh, Sue, you just ordered this? Yes, I have loved this. You know, I think I mentioned it before that originally I was in a sweet swap, and I was assigned this one, and I gave it up only because, not because I didn't like it, but because it wasn't in the pre-order. And with changing jobs and everything else that comes with the end of the school year and the swap being due on May 30th, which was our last day of school, I was like, if I can get something that I can pre-order and do ahead of time, I'm going to do that. So I ended up switching it out, but I still ordered this. It was still on my list from when I had made my list of things that I was going to get. And I'm really glad that I didn't decide not to get it because I didn't need it for it to make swaps. So there is our card. I'm going to take a little bit of Wink of Stella, and I'm just going to get this little star to sparkle here a little bit. You could do all of the rainbow too, but I like how that, I don't know if you can even see the Wink of Stella. Oh yeah, you can kind of see that a little bit, how it sparkles. And then those matte dots that, I think it was Denise that won them tonight, that has like the Mossy Meadow, the Daffodil, Petal Pink, and I don't know if that's, it might be Cloud Cover now that I'm looking at it, because it does say Cloud Covers in the paper. I'm going to use the Cloud Cover ones on this one. And you know what? I'm going to put one down here. This is a bigger one. Come on. My putty came off. Let's see. We'll get some more. There we go. And I'm going to do a little one in there. And then I'm going to do another little one, I think, up here. Okay, so there is our first card, Sending Good Vibes. And then it's free to either stamp a greeting when I go to send it, or I can just write in it if I decide I want to write in it. But that way it doesn't have to be a particular type of card. And now let's go ahead and grab our envelope here. And I'll put some adhesive on that. And here is, this I think is becoming my favorite of the patterns in this paper. If you go to Facebook, no, YouTube, she's only on YouTube. Dina Rico made a card yesterday with this, and I was like, oh, she paired it with Berry Burst, and it was absolutely beautiful. I loved it a lot. So that was when I went to go make my stuff on Monday, I had just watched her, and I'm like, okay, we are going to, actually, no, that was on Sunday. That could have been, maybe it was, no, I had this done already. But anyway, there is our first card, Sending Good Vibes. All right, let's set this aside. Oh, you know what? This is where it came from. And then I watched Dina. This was, oh no, that was the card I made. Here it is. This was a swap card that I got. And it used these two patterns, and it used some of the Cloud Cover ribbon, and it used the sun instead of the rainbow. And so I took Jackie's layout, and I used this card that I got in a swap. This is a swap by Amanda Waldhart. And I combined the two of them. And then after I had made this I made on Sunday, last night I saw Dina's, and she had used it with Berry Burst, and I thought, oh my gosh, that's so pretty. So our first card is our Sending Good Vibes with the rainbow. All right, on to card number 2, but let me get rid of some of this stuff here because I need to keep some space so that I can do the next card. I'm going to leave this here so I can show you. Oh, I have to show you the directions along with the card. I almost forgot. Measurements with finished card. Thanks, Kelly. So here's my measurements. And here is the finished card. You guys can go ahead. Let me move this down a little bit. You can go ahead and take screenshots of that while I'm cleaning everything up here for our next card. Here's my cover for my glue. All right, everyone got that? I'm going to go ahead and take it away. And we are going to go on to card number 2. I'm going to pull all of my stuff over. I am so excited. I hope you guys like this card as much as I do, because I had so much fun making it last night. I was not having so much fun watching the Brewers while I was doing it because, well, they lost. They came back for a while and then they blew it. Okay, so this is going to be our directions. Put them in the middle a little bit more. So the person suggested, could you do Silly Safari? And I'm like, sure, I'd do Silly Safari if I had Silly Safari, but I didn't. And I did get the 1 7/8 inch circle punch. And so I'm like, oh, I should do that. So I ended up getting it. Now, I should have done a baby card. I think someone said that they were looking for a baby card, or they were looking for a shower card. Maybe it was a wedding shower. I don't remember. But when I was playing with this, I was like, oh my gosh, this is such a fun set. Look at the greetings. It says, happy birthday, you party animal. Woohoo, it's your birthday. Hakuna Matata. It's your day. Go wild. Super proud of you. Thank you, big time. Welcome, baby. And then you've got a couple of leaves, a couple of borders, a bunch of little safari animals. Isn't this giraffe just some? Isn't he so cute? We're using that and a little monkey tonight, but these are also adorable. And I'm thinking one of my things this year is that I'm going to send birthday cards to all the kids in our program, our religious ed program. And I'm just thinking some of the younger kids in like first grade are going to think this is absolutely adorable. So even first and second grade. So I'm thinking I'm going to make a whole bunch of cards with these. So whoever suggested it last week, I don't even remember. Thank you, thank you, thank you. All right. We are going to do a fun fold that I saw Heidi Collins with Onigo Stamping. She did this, I don't know when she did it, maybe last week, one day. And I had never seen this fun fold. And so I decided I am going to try that fun fold with this card. So she called it an asymmetrical overlapping, I think, card. So that's what we're going to do. And if you go to YouTube and you look for, it's ONYGO on, and then the letter Y, E, and then go, or you do a search for Heidi Collins, you should be able to find her live video because she did, I think, 4 different designs as well with this exact same layout. So if you don't have these little animals and you're like, oh, I want to see what somebody else did with these, you can. Now, bundled with that is the 1 7/8 inch circle punch, which was out of stock for the longest time, which is probably why I didn't have the stamp set. I did order the punch when it came in, but I forgot that it was bundled. So we're going to be using that and then see how it goes with the 2-inch punch. Okay, so your card base for this is just 4 1/4 by 5 1/2. It doesn't fold here. It's going to fold elsewhere. So this is crumb cake that I'm using for mine. And then you need to have a mat that you're going to build you're gonna have one piece, which is usually going to be a white or a vanilla or a basic beige, that you're actually going to build your crossover, which is going to be the opening of your card. You're going to build that on here. And then once you have it built on here, I'm going to mat this on some Lost Lagoon before I put it onto my actual card base. Okay, so the mat is 3 3/4 by 5, and the white piece that I'm building my crisscross on is 3 5/8 by 4 7/8. It'll probably make sense once I do it. Okay, you're going to have 2 pieces of designer series paper, and I'm using some of the stuff from our lavender set. I thought these two pieces looked really nice together. Now you will see the inside. So you are going to want to make sure that your inside is the correct direction and that these two pieces, when they're opened, will go together, which I thought they went together pretty well. They kind of look almost like the same thing, except for this one has Queen Anne's lace and this one has more lavender in it. So these are my two pieces. Now I'm going to score these and I'm going to cut these with you so that you know how to do that. Now, I do not have it. When she made hers, she made all of hers with a square. We're going to make ours with a circle because I wanted to use our circle punches. They work so well with these silly safari animals. So her focal piece was 2 by 2. That's what she stamped on and put her greeting on. And then the mat that she put that on was 2 1/8 by 2 1/8. We're using 1 7/8 inch circle and 2-inch circle instead. All right, let's go ahead. I do have a scrap of white for us to stamp for our circle. I have a scrap of Lost Lagoon for us to stamp and fussy cut out some leaves. Hi, Julie. Michelle's little silly safari came today. Woohoo! All right. And then I cut this out of 2-inch. This is Pretty Peacock. All right, that's all that's in my envelope. We're going to stamp on our envelope though too. If I forget, remind me when I'm stamping that I have to stamp in there. Okay, I'm going to bring my paper trimmer in here so that you can see how I did this. I'm going to bring the directions in again. So on the tall DSP, so the one that's 4 1/4 by 4 1/2, you're going to score 1/2 inch on the right side, and you're going to cut from the upper right corner to the left side. And it doesn't matter how far you cut. So I'm going to make sure I'm going the right way. So this is my right side. I need 1/2 inch over here that I'm going to score. Get my cutting tool out of the way, and I'm just going to score it. Now, when you are scoring designer paper, don't press really hard because you don't want it to tear. You just want it to score. Okay. Then I'm going to go from the upper right-hand corner to someplace over here. It doesn't matter how far down you go. It really doesn't. Mine's probably about, maybe about 1 inch or so down. And then I'm going to cut. Okay. So there's that piece. And then for my shorter one, so again, I'm going to make sure I'm going the right way. Now I want to score 1/2 inch on this left-hand side, and I want to cut from the upper left-hand corner over to my right-hand side. So I like to score on this side because it gives me more paper to line up here. So I'm going to flip this upside down and score at 1/2 inch. It looks like it's on the right-hand side, but then when I flip it back up the right way, it's on the left side where I want it. Okay, and then I'm going to cut from the upper left corner to somewhere on the right side. Doesn't matter how far down you go. All right, that is our cutting and our scoring for this piece. Now, before I attach these, so these are going to go like this. These are going to get glued here and here. See where I'm going with this? Actually, they're going to go on this piece. Sorry, they're going to go on your mat. It's going to go here and here so that those crisscross. So you want something that goes together, and then your white is going to be in here, and we're going to stamp on that. All right, let's get our stamping done. So let me grab my envelope. I don't forget that as well. I don't need that. I need this. I don't need that. These are the things I need to stamp. Let me get my little mat back in here again. Okay. On this is going to be the inside of my card. I don't know why this is. I think I had to trim it off a little bit, and I didn't do a very good job. On the inside, we're going to be stamping our giraffe. Oh, my goodness. He's so cute. Wait till you see him. He is so, so stinking adorable. I'm so glad somebody suggested this set so that I would buy it. Okay. I'm going to stamp him down towards the bottom. He's going to be a little surprised when you open it. You're not going to see him from the outside. Isn't he cute? Wait till we color him. He's so cute. All right. Then, can you tell I'm a little giddy about this set? Then while I have my black out, I am going to take that arched greeting. It's your day. Go wild. And I'm going to stamp that kind of towards the edge so that I can bring my 1 7/8 punch in here. And center it and give that a punch. And then underneath that, I'm going to stamp the little monkey because he's so cute too. I have to stand up for this. Ah, isn't he cute? Oh gosh. Like I said, I was just going nuts last night because every time I stamp something, I'm like, oh my gosh, it's so cute. I hope you're liking it too. I hope that I'm not just like completely overreacting here. Then let's bring this back. I'm going to use some of our Lost Lagoon. Put my punch back. Whoops. I'm going to use Lost Lagoon, and there are 2 leaves. The one that's a little more solid is the one I'm going to use with the Lost Lagoon. And I'm just going to make it look like there's some trees up here that he's looking at. So we're going to do that. And I'm going to do that. And then I'm going to do that. Okay, and then there's also one. I'm going to leave that here because I'm going to bring that back again to do some more. But I want to finish this piece here. This is kind of like a little more detailed little branch, and I'm doing this in Pretty Peacock, and I'm just kind of going in between, filling in any of the white space between. Look at how cute that is. All right, and then while I have this out yet, I am going to stamp 2 of these leaves on Lost Lagoon in Lost Lagoon ink. Okay, so that's my little scrap. And then let's take our, I think I'm going to do it along the top here. Let's go ahead and do kind of that same pattern. Across the top of our envelope here. I didn't quite know what I was going to do with the envelope, but I think this will work good. And then we'll take that Pretty Peacock and add some at different lengths in between there. That's kind of a cute little envelope, right? All right, and I forgot we're going to put a little greeting inside as well that says, "Happy birthday, you party animal." Oh, I don't have that very straight, but I think it's going to be okay. It's homemade, right? That's how we know it's homemade. I don't know why I have that in there. Okay. I do need that one. All right, let's go ahead and close all these up. We're going to do some coloring. I just put my hand right in this ink. I'm going to rub it on my black pants because you won't see it. All right, let's start with our little giraffe. I think we should name him. He's so cute. But you could color him. You don't have to color him. You don't have to color him like normal giraffe colors. I didn't know what color a giraffe was. I just was like, oh, I've got crumb cake here. Let's use a little crumb cake. So I used for kind of behind all of those little dots, and I'm using the lighter of the two crumb cake colors. And I'm going to try to be really careful not to go into those dots, but I'm going to color those dots with some browns that are a little bit darker, so it doesn't really matter if I do accidentally go into them a little bit. I'm going to be coming back, so I decided I'm just going to use my wider tip for this. And I decided this little, like his little back here thing, I wanted that to be just a little bit darker. So I'm going to use, whoops, went into the mouth, didn't mean to do that. I'm going to use the darker crumb cake for that piece. So I'm using crumb cake Stampin' Blends, along with we're going to be using some pecan pie as well. Yeah, everybody's saying so cute. But yes, I couldn't remember. Thanks. Yeah, George from the Jungle. He does. And then Toys R Us, it was always Jeffrey, right? The Jeffrey the giraffe. All right, and then I'm going to take the darker crumb cake, and we're just going to do this in the darker crumb cake. I'm also going to take and color in a couple of the dots. I wanted to have a bunch of different colors of brown for the dots, so I'm just like randomly picking a few of them to color in with this color. And then I have our light pecan pie, and I'll do a couple of them with that color. And then I've got the dark pecan pie. I'll do a couple with that. I didn't really space those out all that much, but yeah, this is dark. I'm like, is that dark or is it light? But maybe I grabbed two of the same ones. They're all just a little bit, not that much difference, but just a little bit. And then I ended up taking some light Flirty Flamingo. And we're just going to grab his tongue in there with that. Look at him. Isn't he cute? I wish I had made that straight. Oh, well. I'm gonna get past that. Okay, so that's that. Now we're gonna color our little monkey. And for him, I colored his little tongue in that light Flirty Flamingo. And then I did the bottom of his ear in that as well. And then I did the darker crumb cake. Is going to be the top of his ear, and it's going to kind of be the outside portion of him. And you know, you could make these, they're so cute. You could make them any color. You don't have to make them true to the color of what a monkey is. You could make them yellow if you wanted to. I mean, you could make it green if you wanted to. Whatever your card is trying to match. I thought about trying to bring in some of the purple because we had that lavender on the inside, but I didn't. I kept it mostly with greens and the browns, the crumb cakes. Okay, so there is the dark, and then I'm going to take the light crumb cake. I'm actually going to make his nose a little pink also. Okay, and then I'm going to come in with the lighter crumb cake. Kind of go around all of that. my gosh, he's so cute. Look at him. Is he not adorable? What? Okay, and then with our leaves, we do have to fussy cut those out. I'm gonna set that aside. So they really are not that difficult to fussy cut out. I leave just a little bit of an edge. I don't go right up to the stamped image. And as you can see, my right hand, which has my scissors, is just staying completely in place. And my left hand is maneuvering the paper where I want it to go. And we do not have dies because like I said, the punch, the 1 7/8 inch punch goes along with this. Okay, so there's one of them. And we got one more. Hi, March. Yeah, it is a cute set. Like I said, whoever suggested it last week, I owe you big time because you made my night last night because I just had so much fun making it. It definitely made up for a brewer's loss, as fun as it was to play with that. I can't wait to play with it some more. I have my team meeting and I have one more card that I have to make yet for the team meeting. So I'm not sure if I'm going to use this set or if I'm going to do something else, but my team meeting is on Thursday. All right, so we've got those. I'm going to, so that I don't lose it, we're going to put this on. Yeah, did I lose it already? The little circle. Here it is. So 1 7/8 is the one that the saying and the little monkey's on, and then the 2-inch circle is just that little piece behind it. Okay, so what we're going to do, you could use some tear and tape. I'm going to use liquid glue. I have a little bit more time to get this set if I use liquid glue instead of the tear and tape. Tear and tape is really like, got to stay in, it goes in place right away. This you have to hold for a little bit in order to hold it in place. Now I want to line this edge up along the bottom of that and put it into the side. So I'm just lining up the bottom and I'm making sure that this goes all the way over to the edge. And then like if you had tear and tape, that would just stay. I just have to hold this. Donna saying, silly safari for the team meeting, please. Okay, I'll get to play with it again tonight then. All right, so there's the first piece. And then the second piece is going to go over here. So do you see why she called it an asymmetrical, like overlapping or crisscrossing? Because it does. It's asymmetrical and it crisscrosses. Kind of describes it perfectly. So again, I'm going to put my liquid glue there. Oh, good. You want to make sure if your paper is directional that you have it going in the right direction. I was saved on that one because I hadn't checked. Okay, I'm going to line this up. And now it does have a score line on it, but sometimes it worked pretty good with the score line. Sometimes your score line can be off just the tiniest little bit and you kind of just have to force it in place. All right, and now why did I put all these little things up here? We're going to see those. So when we fold this over, we're actually going to see the leaves like that. And then when we open it up, our little giraffe is going to be the little surprise inside. All right. So much fun. Like I said, Heidi Collins is the one that I got this fold from. And if you search her out on YouTube, you will be able to see all of the cute creations that she made with this fold, which, oh my goodness, they were so adorable. She used that new floral set that we used last week on our card that used the everyday arches. And she also used, trying to think, I think she used that rainbow that we used for our first card too. She had a couple of different samples. Okay, so this is going to go down on there. And then we're going to pop him up on some dimensionals right there. So I'm going to keep the dimensionals on the bottom side because I don't want it to glue to this because it still has to open. So I'm going to take some dimensionals and put them on the bottom. Okay, and then I wish I could find my bone folder sitting here, but I don't know where. Oh, here's one. It's not my good one, but it'll work. So when you have overlapping pieces like this, to keep them in place, it helps to really give it a good fold, a good burnish with your bone folder. They stay in place a little bit better. Okay, then we're going to put these little guys right there. So I'm going to put dimensionals down along the bottom. And I'm going to put some liquid glue across the top here to stick it to the little circle that's there. Throw a little bit of glue here. Hold that in place. Ooh, and then I wanted to just cover up where the two of those intersect. So again, I'm going to take some of our linen thread. Grab it from the last one that I had. I thought I had another one in there. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut 2 strings. Now I could wrap it around twice to make a double bow, but when you cut 2 strings, you also have 2 little, kind of like the little tails, and I wanted the 2 little tails. So that's why I'm cutting 2 of them rather than just wrapping it around my pegs twice. There we go. And again, we'll take a little glue dot. Just going to kind of roll it up in a ball. Place it where I want the knot to be, kind of where they intersect there. Press that in there, and then we'll trim these off just a little bit. I do like them a little bit longer, but they're a little bit long. And then these are different colors, different shades of green, but this one right down here, I've used it with Pool Party. I thought it could be used with Lost Lagoon, or you could do the white. And I'm just going to put a couple of them up here in my green area. I think if we use these really light ones, that it will take on the color that is pretty peacock there. You know what? I think I'm going to use the ones that I used before when I did my sample, which was these down here that look like they're a little bit more blue. And we'll do a small one. And you really wouldn't need that, but if you wanted to add just a little bit of bling, there's just a little bit there. So it's your day, go wild. And then we open this up and whoa, happy birthday, you party animal. And that is our finished card. And we have this cute little envelope that matches, the top of it matches the actual card. And we are all set to go with that card. Like I said, I had so much fun playing with this. The hardest part of this one, for the longest time, I struggled with what paper. I had this picture in my head. I saw Heidi's video, and I'm like, I'm gonna do that. I want to do that fold because I love that fold. It's so cool. I have never done it before. And then somebody said they wanted me to use this set. So I'm like, yep, I want to use this set. What can I do that overlaps that has like greens in it? So then I looked at the turtle paper, but the inside of all the pieces that I wanted to use were turtles. And I'm like, those don't really fit with this whole safari theme. And so I kept looking at different papers, and then I came across this and I'm like, oh, those greens are nice. And I think it's okay that we have the little purple flowers when you open it. It looks like it's, I don't know, like just part of the little jungle. I mean, Queen Anne's lace is kind of a wildflower and stuff. So I don't know. I thought it went okay. So that is card number 2. Maybe I got overly giddy for nothing, but I had so much fun with it. Okay, so that's our second card. Here was our first card again. And again, this is Silly Safari. So along with the little monkey and the giraffe, you have a zebra and a little bit of that's a rhino. And is that supposed to be, I don't know if this is supposed to be a tiger or a cheetah. I'm not sure. I think it. Denise is my second grade teacher that teaches science at that grade that I don't know. She might know what that is. I know that kids are really into tigers. I have a couple of kids that really love tigers. I don't know if that's what it is or if it's a cheetah. I suppose you'd need more of the body maybe to tell. I don't know. I feel like a tiger is more striped and this is more spotted. So I think it's a cheetah. But anyway, nobody's answered me, so maybe nobody else knows. But then you also have these, you can make little borders. This would be make a really, really cute baby. It's a cheetah. Thanks, Nancy. That's what I thought, because a tiger would be striped, right? All right. Completed card with measurements. Gosh, thank you so much, Kelly, for keeping me on task here. It's something that's new yet, and so I'm still trying to remember that I need to do that. Okay, so here's our completed card. So you can take a picture with the directions there. Let me get this out of the way. I think that's a good screenshot for you. I'm not covering it in the corner there. All right. Hakuna Matata. Yeah, it says that. That's one of the sayings on it. Hakuna Matata. Oh, that would be Lion King, right? All right. Anyway, oh my goodness. I think it's time for me to turn my lights back on. There we go. And I don't know where my mouse went. Here it is. I'll come back to you. Here I am. All right. Thank you guys so much. I was thinking of a leopard. Oh, maybe. I don't know. I'm not sure what it is. All right. I'm thinking it's a cheetah. I don't know. Or leopard. I don't know. Anyhow, well, thank you guys so much for joining me. The hardest part of the night was figuring out what animal is in our stamp, right? I will be back again next week, Tuesday, with some more things. So if you have any ideas, things that you want me to do, make sure you put them in the comments because I do look at that. And I did actually make something with someone's suggestions. I want to make sure I didn't miss any questions before I go. Mary's going to try the fun fold tonight. Go at it. Like I said, look up Onigo Stamping, Heidi Collins. She had a whole bunch of different examples as well. And I don't think there were any other questions. I think that was it. All right, I'm just going to double check to make sure I didn't miss anything else. I have lots and lots of comments. Yes, Charlene, I loved the fold of the card too. And like I said, I got that from Heidi. What a fun fold. Yeah, Sarah, it is. Thank you guys all for the comments. I'm just kind of looking to see if there were any questions along the way, because when I get stamping, I miss things. All right, I don't see anything. So I think I'm going to sign off. If anything comes up, you can always send me a message as well if I missed a question that you had or anything like that. Usually you guys are pretty good. I have enough demonstrators that follow me that if somebody asks a question and I miss it, a lot of you jump on and answer it for me. So I really do appreciate that. So, all right, that is it for tonight. I'm going to sign off. I'm going to probably play with this and make one more card for my team meeting since it sounds like people like the card or like the stamp set, and we'll see if we can come up with something cute, maybe a baby card or something with it. We'll see. All right, well, you guys have a great evening. I hope you can find some time to be creative and try this, either the layout or the fun fold out with some of your own products, and I will see you again next week, Tuesday. Bye-bye.